Week 24 of the USL League One season comes to a close in Arlington as North Texas has a chance with a win to snap a 6-game winless streak and get above the playoff line, while Union Omaha looks to reclaim first place after it was stolen from them last night. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by MTX. Joe Malfa on hand at Choctaw Stadium. This is the third meeting of the season between these two teams. The last couple have ended in a draw. As we take a look at those standings, Chattanooga with a win last night vaulted Omaha, but the Owls have 3 games in hand, so on points per game, they are still the first place team. You look down to North Texas in 9th in a very crowded table. A win, and they would go as high as 5th place at the end of the night. Still a lot to be sorted out here in the USL League One season. For Union Omaha, the question right now, what can we do to get better? The answer, score goals. That is, as bluntly as Jay Mims put it, they're a team right now that's in first, but they're tied for 8th with 26 goals. How do you fix it? Well, Evan Conway's going to help. He's missed most of this season due to injury. He was the team's leading scorer with 6 goals last year. He's got 2 goals and 1 assist this season so far, as they can have him round into form up there alongside Greg Hurst and the likes of Devin Boyce, Connor Doyle. Things will start turning around for Union Omaha offensively, but as long as they keep their defensive record, whatever happens on offense happens. Now on the other side for North Texas, we look at the United Way player to watch. It's Derek Waldeck. He is leading the way here for this team at home. They've been stellar at home this season. Away from home, different story, but at home, 5 wins, 4 draws, 1 loss. They have a plus 12 goal difference at home as well. For a team in desperate need of points, what do you turn to? You turn to one of your best players, leading the team with 4 assists. And you do so at home, where you have been nearly unbeatable all season long. Not going to be easy, though, here against Union Omaha. It's a matchup that we saw a couple times last season and a couple times this season. One time, Omaha won. The other 3 times, we've seen draws. These two teams are as evenly matched as it gets. And this next round is coming right up on ESPN+.
Rethink what you drink.
Style, performance, power, pancake, turtleneck sweater, Worcestershire, or Shire, I guess. It doesn't matter what I say, the Camry speaks for itself.
Get $1,250 customer cash, or qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 60 months on a new 2021 Camry. Hurry in today. Toyota, let's go places.
Through our work during the pandemic, we've touched the lives of more than 500,000 people and their families. But we cannot continue our efforts and meet the ongoing demands without you.
Please give to our Rebuild Tarrant County Fund and support your United Way and the community that we all love so dearly.
Join us as we reimagine and rebuild a stronger Tarrant County by going to rebuildtarrant.org.
Thank you for caring. Thank you for living united.
We're the ones that help keep you on track and stay with you through every push, helping you dig out from injuries and keeping your mind and body in the game. We fuel you for battle, so you can stay in the fight no matter what. Whatever you do, Texas Health Sports Medicine is here for your win.
Players, officials making their way out onto the field here at Choctaw Stadium. Tonight's game brought to you by MTX. North Texas trying to get above the playoff line with a win, and Union Omaha looking to climb back into first place. Take a look at the starting lineups for both sides, beginning with the home side, brought to you by MTX. A lot of the familiar faces here for North Texas as they look to pick up a big win and get above that playoff line. They're going to turn to the likes of El Medcar and Rayo leading the charge from up front. And they bring Solison on the back line next to Gomez, hoping to shore some things up. Always have to be alert for their wingbacks. Waldeck and Smith love to get up and down the flanks and help the attack as much as they are involved defensively as well. On the other side for Union Omaha, again, not much changes for a team right now that just marches to the beat of their own drum. They are in first place in terms of points per game. They're 3 points back of Chattanooga, but they could take that back tonight. That back line has been stellar. No team in the league has conceded fewer goals. Rashid Nuhu, far and away the Golden Glove leader. He's got a couple of clean sheets to his name. As a team, they've given up 13 goals. The next closest team has given up 21. So Villader, Malone, Kroll, Souza, and Nuhu are stellar back there. We play under the sun here at Choctaw Stadium, but if it gets dark out, Union Omaha's neon kits will keep it bright. They go from left to right. And North Texas, red tops, white bottoms from right to left. The officials in black, Benjamin Meyer. We wait his whistle to get things going. There it is. And we're underway on this Sunday in USL League One. Week 24 comes to an end today with a triple header. Actually, almost simultaneously, 2 games kicking off now at 7 o'clock. The other being Greenville, 7 o'clock Eastern, that is. 6 o'clock Central. Greenville taking on Tucson, and then at 7:30 Eastern Time, 6:30 Central, Fort Lauderdale is in action. Two teams with opposite playing styles here in Omaha and North Texas. The home side is going to try and possess the ball as much as they can. That's their MO. Omaha, not necessarily intent on having it. It's more about what you do with it once you get across midfield. That is the mantra of Jay Mims. He doesn't really care if you see the ball 25% of the time or 75% of the time, as long as you're effective when you do have it. We take a look at tonight's keys to the game. They're brought to you by Toyota. For North Texas, it's fight to the finish. For Omaha, not perfect yet. What do we mean by that? For North Texas, lately they've struggled late in games. They conceded late to lose recently. They've conceded 2 late goals to draw recently. They've been having momentary lapses late in matches. Need to clean that up. For Union Omaha, yes, they're in first place, but there's still plenty of room to improve. This team is far from perfect, is the way Jay Mims put it. And when asked about what exactly needs to turn around for Omaha, as I noted earlier on, at the top of the broadcast, it's scoring goals. Easier said than done. But Evan Conway gave chase atop the formation. Him coming back into the fold, getting healthy. That changes the complexion of this Omaha squad. Omaha earned its first ever win at home at Warner Park against North Texas. Evan Conway scored that goal. That came at the beginning of last season. Ever since then, 3 draws, and the scores have descended as well. It was a 2-2 draw, a 1-1 draw, and then a 0-0 draw. Just the way these teams cancel out in terms of their playing styles, it makes for a lot of tight games. North Texas wants to spread it out and pass it around. Omaha looks to be efficient in the attacking half and counter. We take a look at the injury report, brought to you by Texas Health Sports Medicine. Alejandro Viniegra out. Ethan Vanacore-Decker out. Overall, rather clean slates for both clubs. Those injuries should not be long-term from what we're told. Captain Ferretti Souza brings it back for Blake Malone. Just the cohesion and consistency of the lineups on the back line have helped Omaha get to the marks they're at defensively. They move so well as a unit, everybody knows where the other's going to be. And then the backstop of Rashid Nuhu is there to bail you out if need be. Rashid Nuhu this season has given up just 11 goals. And this is for a keeper who has started 17 games. Goals against average coming into the day of 0.65. No one else in the Golden Glove race is remotely close to what Nuhu is doing right now. He finished second to only Dallas J of Greenville last year in that race and in the Goalkeeper of the Year race. That ball over the top looking for Hurst. He's almost there, but Shuttler grabs it. That's what you get from Omaha. As soon as they see a sliver of space, they're going to try and play the likes of Greg Hurst in behind. Although in this Golden Boot race this season, which is currently led by Emiliano Terzaghi, and Marius Lomas tied atop the league with 12 each. They're followed by Greg Hurst with 9. None of those guys have scored in the last month. It's been stagnant in the Golden Boot race. Greg Hurst will look to change that today. And even despite going a bit of a ways here without scoring, Greg Hurst still by far the leader with 9 goals for this Omaha club. The next closest, Dami Villader with 4 to his name, then Devin Boyce with 3, and Boyce scored last time out. That 2-1 win over Toronto FC. Long run for Boyce to keep it in. He can't. Reminder, we're playing the yellow lines here. Some local high school football is played on this stadium. Hopefully does not come into play here with players taking a look at the wrong lines, but they are the yellow ones. In chatting with Eric Quill this week for North Texas, the theme of the conversation was just frustration, and it's understandable with the way this team has performed recently. A 2-0 loss on the road against Tormenta, in a game where Eric Quill felt his side was the better of the two sides. 2 momentary lapses last weekend, and they lose 2-0. The ball over the top here as Smith surges in, and it's knocked out for a corner. First of the match coming, brought to you by Michelob Ultra. Prior to that for North Texas, a last-second goal saw them lose against Chattanooga. A last-second goal saw them draw against Tucson. And go a little bit further back at the beginning of this 6-match winless streak. A last-second goal against Chattanooga once again turned it into a draw. It's a team that very well could have an extra 6 to 10 points on their ledger. Here's Smith, flips it towards the back post. Knotted along by Kroll. Battle for it is won by Gomez. And swung back around to Smith. Ferry. Gomez. And the flag pops up. North Texas probably appropriately middle of the pack in terms of goals scored and goals conceded, as they find themselves middle of the pack in the table. 26 goals conceded, 28 goals scored. And when they've scored, it's come in bunches. They certainly have the capability to open things up. Not going to be easy against this Omaha squad, though. Again, 13 goals allowed by Omaha. The next closest team, Chattanooga, with 21. This Omaha club is not going to run circles around most teams in terms of the offensive output. Prior to the 2-1 win over Toronto, they beat North Carolina 3-0, but that right there was a rarity. You go back a bit further, 0-0 against this North Texas squad, 1-0 in back-to-back results against Tucson and Chattanooga. Prior to that, 3 out of 4 games finished 1-1 in the month of July. A lot of low-scoring, tight affairs for this Omaha squad, but as you get into the postseason, that's the sign of a team right there that could contend for a championship. Jay Mims knows that. Defensively, a team that is going to give any other team trouble in the playoffs. Just have to start finding the goals. Sounds cliche, he noted in our chat this week, but defense wins championships. And last year, they were on their way to the final before it was canceled. Again, led by the strength of the defense. Souza forced inside, and it's blocked by Ferry. Fortunately for Omaha, nobody making that run centrally. Nearly 10 minutes gone here at Choctaw Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Joe Malfa with you this evening on ESPN+. Omaha goes back to first place officially with a win. They're there right now in terms of points per game. North Texas could end the day in 5th place above that playoff line with a win, and it would undo their last run of play. They've struggled away from home, 1-6-4, whereas they have a 5-1-4 record at home. In this 6-match winless streak, followed up a nice stretch in which they picked up points seemingly every game they played, and they did it with wins, not draws. They won back-to-back games against Tucson and North Carolina, had them flying high and ascending the table. A testament to how tight this league is, all the parity we see throughout League One. In spite of going 6 winless, a win today would put them back above that playoff line. Great tackle by Waldeck. He highlighted him for a reason. Offensively, he gives you that. Offensively, he quickly turns things onto the attack. Team leader with 4 assists. Viadair down the middle. Viadair! We've seen that from him this season. He only scores goals like that, and it puts Omaha up 1-0. Fifth of the season for Dami Viadair. We've seen him earn goal of the week before this season. On the Advocare replay, he saw a seam, he hit the seam, past 1 defender, past 2 defenders, past a third, and then he slots it past Shuttler with a right-footed blast. His weaker foot, too. What weaker foot? Naturally a lefty, doesn't matter.
50-yard line.
Number 5 of the season for Dami Viadair. And when you're going up against a team like Omaha, and you're North Texas, that is a tough pill to swallow just a dozen minutes into this to be down a goal, knowing what Omaha's track record is this year defensively. They've given up 13 goals in 19 games. Now you have to find one to at least earn a point. A team that has lost just once this season on their home turf. It came against Chattanooga way back at the beginning of May. Most vulnerable, though, in the first 5 minutes after scoring or conceding a goal. Every coach will tell you that. North Texas working to get it back quickly. Here's Waldeck. Outside on Medkar. Tight marking there from Souza. Well done to not only win it, but keep it in. Boyce. Looking for Greg Hurst. That ball ran out of steam and was well read by Mark Salas defensively. Elsewhere in the league right now, FC Tucson takes an early lead, 1-0 on Greenville. Fort Lauderdale Tormenta kicks off in about 15 minutes. 3 games to end week 24. Hernandez looks to chip it by. Has Ferry for support, and it's deflected by Kroll to the feet of Boyce. Give it away. And Nuhu will take it. That Greenville-Tucson game, major impact on the standings as well. The hottest team right now in the league is FC Tucson. And if they hold on to win on the road against Greenville, they would end the day in 3rd place. This is a team that was down near the bottom of the table alongside North Carolina before they made the coaching change from John Gallows to John Perlman. They've been on an absolute tear. Tucson has won 5 of its last 6 games with a draw in there. The last time they lost was actually against Union Omaha, and they will play again next week on Saturday the 25th. This Union Omaha squad will be at home against FC Tucson. That game will actually be played at Morrison Stadium, the home field of Creighton University. So 1 game away from Warner Park for Omaha. Flag goes up on Evan Conway. Since 1947, Select has been a leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. Select is the official ball supplier of USL League One and many of the elite leagues throughout Europe. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit www.selectsportamerica.com. North Texas, Greenville Triumph, the 2 teams with the star above their crests here in League One. North Texas won the first title in 2019. Greenville crowned champions last season. Those 2 teams are in the thick of a playoff battle this year. If the current results hold, with Tucson beating Greenville and Omaha winning here. From Greenville in 4th place, all the way down to Toronto in 10th place, separated by just 4 points. Quarter hour gone. The lone goal so far belongs to Dami Villader in the 11th minute. Villader has been player of the week. He's seen himself score goals of the week. Had team highs in tackles, passes, crosses. All-league first team last season. He does it all for Omaha, offensively and defensively. So does Waldeck on the other side for North Texas as he tries to strum that attack along from the left side. Now Medcar had nowhere to go. Told for now there will be no hydration breaks in this game. Always a topic of conversation when playing in Arlington, depending on the heat. But for now, told we will skate on by without them tonight. Always makes for an interesting dynamic to the game flow itself, if and when those hydration breaks do happen at the discretion of the officials and the teams. Almost turns the game into 4 quarters as the coaches then get to adjust midway through the first half. And then midway through the second. Good ball in here. Medcar, the response for North Texas. Khalil Medcar gets it done. When you score against Omaha, you go ahead and save that ball because it doesn't happen often. Just a 14th goal this team has conceded on the season. That is quite the response, the one that they needed. 7th game of the season for Medcar here with North Texas. And he scores his 3rd goal. Look at it on the Advocate replay. The goal brought to you by United Way. The player Medcar who spent some time in MLS. 7 appearances here in League One, and now 3 goals. That is quite the scoring clip for this North Texas side. Game on. Back on level pegging again. The shot from the kickoff trying to catch Shuttler out. Khalil Medcar, 22 years of age from Philly. Played for Reading United in USL 2 while he was at Kentucky. And his time with the Wildcats, 20 goals, 21 assists in 66 appearances. Stellar collegiate career. He's turned it into a budding professional career with North Texas and FC Dallas. Speaking of FC Dallas, some big news actually today that does potentially have a ripple effect out to North Texas. Luchi Gonzalez has been relieved of his duties as the head coach of the MLS side. More on that in a second. Ferretti Souza sends one in. Skimmed along by Hurst. Doyle is there looking to keep it in, and it's out for a North Texas throw. Gonzalez has spearheaded the movement for North Texas as they just brought talented player after talented player through the League One system. Coach Quill and Coach Gonzalez have been attached to the hip the last couple of seasons. Boyce, a strike, and it's wide. So it'll be interesting to see down the stretch here how that maybe impacts things. You know, with MLS affiliates, whether it's at the USL Championship or at the USL League One level, the teams mimic the way the MLS side plays, just in case anybody needs to be plucked for a game or two. They can fit right into the system. So depending on who emerges as a new head coach, if the system changes at all, will things change here for North Texas? Would not be unprecedented either for Eric Quill to have his name in the hat there to take over. A lot of players on the North Texas squad in 2019 and 2020 comprise that FC Dallas squad, so he does have a very strong level of familiarity with a lot of those players. That's not me reporting anything, that is just me purely conjecturing over it, thinking to how things may play out here in the organization and looking to some past examples. Almost at the exact same time that we had the equalizer here, there was an equalizer in Greenville. Aaron Walker converts a penalty in the 17th minute. Medkar scored here in the 18th minute. So both games around the league right now are level at 1 goal apiece. And what that does is just keeps everybody closer in the table. We've seen that going around all season long because there have been so many draws around the league. It's the exact reason why things are as tight as they are. With a draw in Greenville, Triumph would remain in 3rd over Tucson in 4th. With a draw here, North Texas would climb up to 8th place and be just 1 point behind Tormenta and Madison. North Texas would have 1 game in hand on Tormenta, but Madison would have 2 in hand on North Texas. 28-game season. We are nearing the conclusion. We'll wrap up at the end of October. The first team to wrap up will actually be Tormenta. They're already at 23 games played. At the end of the night, it'll be 24. They'll have 4 remaining. So Tormenta needs to start picking up some wins to build a cushion, as they'll be the team to enter the clubhouse first. And just hope that their cushion is large enough. The Tormenta squad is the prime example of how you can quickly turn things around in this league with the parity and with so many points gone to the cutting room floor due to matches ending in draws. They are near the bottom of the league in terms of draws with 4 draws only. 11 losses, but 8 wins. It's good enough to be above the line. And right below the line, team in forward Madison with 10 draws. Go further, North Texas, this would be their 9th draw if this result were to hold. So all these draws, each team gets a point, 1 goes away forever. And it benefits the teams like a Tormenta, who, you know what, sure, you picked up a couple of extra losses with 11 on the season, but you also picked up an extra couple of wins by going for broke in some games. That may pay dividends in the end. Something to think about as this game goes along as well. A draw doesn't really do either side good. That strike from distance is wide and high. Draw does neither team too much good. Omaha at this point, it's just a race among themselves and with Chattanooga. Omaha's going to end up being one of the 2 teams that gets a bye. I think that much is settled. Same goes for Chattanooga. Question is which of those 2 teams finishes above the other to ensure home field advantage throughout the postseason. Coming into this game, Omaha had 3 games in hand on Chattanooga and were back by just 3 points. So everything right now is controlled by Omaha. Got to talking to Eric Quill about the last couple of seasons for North Texas. They went on late season runs both times. They carried that run all the way to a championship in 2019. And if not for an Evan Conway goal last season, North Texas would have been in the title game last year as well. They're hoping to get on that same run late in the season this year. They know it's about peaking at the right time. Not a lot of holdovers, though, from last year's team, especially not the 2019 team, but same coach in Eric Quill. He's been there, done that in this league, and he knows what it'll take down the stretch. And no better way to kind of set yourself up picking up 3 points against arguably the best team in the league. Souza calmly plays it all the way back. And as we are here in Arlington, we're just a stone's throw away from the Cowboys' home stadium. Jay Mims is actually a big Cowboys fan. He joked that if he had some free time on this trip, he'd like to get a tour of the Cowboys stadium. So he'll be happy to know they won on a late field goal. I'm sure somebody on the bench told him. As the season goes along, it's always fun to talk more and more with these coaches about life, about soccer, about everything. Jay Mims, big-time fantasy football player. I think we spent the first 10 minutes of our chat this week going over his team. He was very nervous about how things would turn out this week. He's got a nice little team. He's got a nice little team here on the field for Union Omaha as they try to retake first place. Skiers dispossessed, tries to win it back from Waldeck. Might have stepped on his left foot. Waldeck looked down at it, walking gingerly. Told his teammate to slow down a second. Ball clipped over the top. Rashid Nuhu will wait for it to enter the box. Nuhu has not had much to do nearly a half an hour into this. Texas hasn't had much of a sustained attack, but they do have the one shot on target, and it beat Rashid Nuhu. Same thing goes for Union Omaha, actually. One shot on target, one goal. But as is typical when these teams meet, rather when any team meets North Texas, it's the home side controlling possession to the tune of 65-35 in their favor. Boyce for Souza. Great ball in from Souza to the backside of the 6. Well defended by Smith. Conway was waiting. And the foul goes against the goal scorer Villader. Devin Boyce in the middle of the park and running up and down the right wing. And getting a chance to chat with a lot of the coaches around the league this season. You think they might highlight Greg Hurst as the player to watch for Omaha with all his goals. You think they might talk about Rashid Nuhu in goal for all he's done. The player that comes up the most in conversation among opposing coaches is Devin Boyce. He's the heartbeat of this Omaha squad. The tenacity with which he plays, the skill with which he plays, really just fits the bill of what Jay Mims is looking for in a player in this system. And does everything he's asked of so well. Boyce, the 25-year-old, started 13 of 16 matches last season. Relentless is the word Jay Mims would use to describe him. And this season, he's popped up in a big way again. Starting 17 of 19 matches coming into the day. As the flag goes up on Greg Hurst. Tommy Villader leads the way for Omaha, starting all 20 matches, and he's been subbed off just once. Has nearly played every minute of the season for the Owls. Smith to Ferry. Came over this season from Fort Lauderdale. That match will be kicking off momentarily. Fort Lauderdale and Tormenta. Sound like a broken record at this point saying that it's a big match in the playoff race, because they all are right now when 3rd place and 11th place are separated by just 6 points. But Fort Lauderdale and Tormenta, particularly a big game. As a foul elicits a yellow card to Ferry here in the midfield with Doyle down on the ground. And Tormenta Fort Lauderdale match particularly massive because those two teams don't have too many opportunities against each other remaining. With the Advocare replay, here's the foul. Tormenta Fort Lauderdale don't have too many opportunities against each other remaining and don't have too many opportunities, period, remaining. Just 5 games left this season for Fort Lauderdale. After this game, just 4 left for Tormenta. Fort Lauderdale 2 points beneath Tormenta in the playoff race right now. A win for Fort Lauderdale in that game would take them all the way up to 5th place. A win for Tormenta could see them go to 3rd at the night's end, depending on what Greenville does against Tucson. Souza slides it inside. Haven't heard much from Amir Ali Hodzic just quite yet. He sends this one across to Kroll. Now it's Villader, thinking somebody might close down to him this time. And there it is. After last time, he just took off on his own 20-yard run and had a perfect rocket of a shot past Shuttler. Doyle. Just behind Boyce. Ferry to a Medcar. Those two combined for the goal. Now it's Rayo. Stops it on a dime pass. Kroll the shot. Nearly beats Nuhu at the near post. Gibran Rayo almost caught Rashid Nuhu flat-footed. Look at the Advocare replay. Rayo almost lost his own footing right there. He gathered himself, found a seam between the 2 defenders, and just put it wide of the post. The 19-year-old who's come up through the FC Dallas Academy. Has 4 goals in 19 matches this season. And he's called for the foul there. Benjamin Meyer counted off the 10 yards, was just waiting for Rayo to retreat. Taken quickly between Villader and Boyce. Not well worked in the end. Something they had planned off the training ground, you imagine, based on the way it looked, but back to the training ground to tweak it a little bit. Dangerous cross-field pass from Souza. Now Boyce. All served in to the top of the area. And that foul goes against J.P. Skierce. Meyer wants to have a chat after that. He goes to check on the player down. Gibran Rayo gets to his feet. He's been in the thick of a couple of challenges on the delivering end and the receiving end. Fifth meeting all time between these teams. They will meet again on the last day of the season. That is Saturday, October 30th. First ever meeting, a 1-0 Omaha win. Since then, a 2-2 draw, a 1-1 draw, a 0-0 draw in that order. Two Cubs battling over the Atlantic Division's final playoff spot takes center stage when the USL on ESPN continues. Charlotte Independence travels north to Dillon Stadium to take on Hartford Athletic Thursday, September 30th at 8 Eastern on ESPN Deportes. Medcar And it's swept away by Skiers. Waldeck keeps it in. A lot of space, and that seems to be what Jay Mims is gesturing at. How could Waldeck have that much space? And Souza commits the foul. Free kick, edge of the area for North Texas. Not a great angle for a shot. And a really strong angle here for Waldeck and that left foot of his to maybe get a cross in. A look at the Advocare replay. Fort Lauderdale Tormenta has kicked off through the 3rd minute, so now officially all 3 matches in action as we bring week 24 to its conclusion. Thought this might be a good spot for Waldeck on the free kick. Blaine Ferry, a very capable left foot as well. And he's joined by Freddie Vargas. Not a bad spot for Vargas to maybe try and surprise Nuhu with a shot at the near post either. That's what Vargas does, and it's through the wall, but past the post. You never want to see the wall separate like that as a goalie. It defeats the purpose of the wall. I'm sure Nuhu will have words with Boyce and with Hurst after that. Fortunately for Omaha, it's harmless in the end. And now the other way, Conway takes it himself. Conway, it's saved by Shuttler. That's what Conway can bring. Team's leading scorer with 6 goals last year. As this team looks to turn things around offensively, it's the one department in which they could certainly improve. Coming into the day tied for 8th in goals. They look to that man to help turn the tide. It's going to take a little time for Conway and Hurst to build some chemistry, but once they get it going, watch out. Conway not only brings his own talents to the lineup, but it turns into a force multiplier as everybody around him will be able to raise their game a bit as well. Conway will have a positive impact on Hurst, and on Doyle, and on everybody around him. Aaron Walker scored his 2nd of the night in Greenville. Triumph lead 2-1 over FC Tucson. That is positive news for North Texas. Tucson, if they were to lose that game, North Texas were to go on to win this one, it would put them level on points at 29. So North Texas, again, entering the day in 9th. They could end tied for 4th in points with Tucson. Hernandez, rather Maldonado. Now Rayo. Vargas splits the defenders. Adair trying to wrestle it away from Hernandez. Rayo at the end line, and he's muscled off. Blake Malone was there. The USL's elite pre-professional platform, USL Academy, allows clubs to build a pathway to pro soccer by bringing together top local youth talent and helping players transition to their USL senior teams. For more info, visit usl-academy.com. Conway, but too far out in front. Omaha sporting the Volt Green kits today. That's the official verbiage. North Texas has a goalkeeper you can always expect to be asked to use your feet. Something that Eric Quill believes Colin Shuttler does very well. Second round pick by FC Dallas in this year's draft out of the University of Virginia, where he became in 2019 the first UVA goalkeeper to be first team All ACC since Tony Meola back in 1989. Some good company there. Smith telegraphed that one. Good step there. Back line of Omaha, but it squirted through up towards El Medcar. And Malone stepped on it. Blake Malone, the 20-year-old from Omaha, came up through the Sounders Academy, went to UNC in 2019. Just 1 year of college before he turned pro and signed with Orange County in 2020 in USL Championship. Did not appear last season and was loaned to Omaha for this season. He was ranked the #2 defender in the high school class of 2019 before committing to UNC, where he started as a freshman. Not the only defender from North Carolina on the field today. On the flip side, Mark Salas, drafted 76th overall this year, was a 4-year starter for the Tar Heels. Greg Hurst works with Boyce. Evan Boyce pitches in, pulls it back. This Omaha team, maybe there's a stigma around them that they're only good in tight spaces on their home field at Warner Park, which is markedly smaller than most of the other fields around the league. Jay Mims has said it, and Omaha last season and this season time and again have proven it. They are even better on the bigger surfaces because they have a collection of players who can really let their talents shine on the bigger pitch. I think maybe midway through last season, opposing teams started to realize that. Maybe took Omaha lightly early on in the transition from the small field to the big field. But around the turn of September, October last year, when Omaha went on the road and dominated offensively against Fort Lauderdale in a 3-2 win on that big surface at Dry Pig Stadium. And when they came here to North Texas last year and played to an exciting 2-2 draw, that's when people began to realize this team, again, play on a small field at home. That's just the way it is. It's a matter of fact. But they are certainly capable on the bigger surface. And if anything, they're better on the bigger surface. The likes of Hurst and Boyce, Conway have more room to roam and use their creativity. Waldeck wasn't happy with that foul call. Don't believe Benjamin Meyer was ready for that free kick to be taken. A little bit before the whistle from Omaha. Play it in to Doyle. And a corner earned from it for Omaha. We haven't really seen Doyle and Hurst link up much today. That's the duo that gets the job done for Omaha. They did it last year for Chattanooga in League One. Bring that connection to Omaha this year. Jay Mims jumped at the idea of bringing in Connor Doyle, who played under him at Creighton. Corner taken short to Boyce. Boyce swings it in, header away at the penalty mark. Doyle the volley. Opportunity gone by the wayside for the Owls. here in the 45th minute of play. We had near simultaneous goals when Greenville scored and Khalil El-Medkar scored here in our game. We again have near simultaneous goals from around the league. Greenville and Tucson. What a first half that is turning out to be. Charlie Dennis converts for the penalty mark in the 41st minute. It's 2-2 over there. And Mitchell Curry scores for Fort Lauderdale in the 13th minute to give Fort Lauderdale a 1-0 lead over Tormenta. That Greenville-Tucson game. Walker with a brace for Greenville, Dennis with a brace for Tucson. Just 1 minute of added time here in the first half. Stoppage time is brought to you by MTX. I think 1-1, barring a late score here, is an appropriate score going into the half, the way these teams have matched up. Mentioned it a couple of times. The last 3 times they've met, they've played to a draw. Two very evenly matched teams. Their styles clash in a very interesting way. North Texas will have the possession. Omaha will look to take the limited possession and just stick the ball forward. They've got 5 shots, 2 on target. North Texas, 4 shots, 1 on target. Possession 60-40, North Texas's way. This game playing about exactly as you'd expect when these two teams meet. And as the halftime whistle blows, it's 1-1 at Choctaw Stadium. A win for Omaha would put them back in first place. A win for North Texas would get them above that playoff line. See if we could come out of that streak here of 3 straight draws between these teams as we get to the second 45. North Texas looking to snap a 6-match winless streak. And to do so will be massive in the playoff race as the 2019 champs look to get above that playoff line. Things started fast for Omaha on that strike from Villader. But just a few moments later, El-Medkar responded with one of his own, and it's 1-1 going into the Toyota halftime show. We're back in a moment.
Rethink what you drink.
Style, performance, power, pancake, turtleneck sweater, Worcestershire, or Shire, I guess. It doesn't matter what I say, the Camry speaks for itself.
Get $1,250 customer cash, or qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 60 months on a new 2021 Camry. Hurry in today. Toyota, let's go places.
What if we were wrong this whole time? Wrong in thinking that joy happens only at the end, after the sacrifice, after the win? What if happiness has always been there, fueling the run toward greatness? What if joy is the whole game, not just the end game?
Can I kick it? Can I kick it?
We're the ones that help keep you on track and stay with you through every push, helping you dig out from injuries and keeping your mind and body in the game. We fuel you for battle, so you can stay in the fight, no matter what. Whatever you do, Texas Health Sports Medicine is here for your win.
Toyota halftime show at the break here between North Texas and Union Omaha. With that, we take a look at the weekend that has been so far in USL League One. A full weekend, all 12 teams in action. Some action on Friday, some today, obviously, on Sunday, and there was a little bit yesterday on Saturday. But we dial it all the way back to Friday to get things going. North of the border, Ryan Sierakowski for Madison on the road against Toronto got things going. His 3rd goal in 4 games with the team after coming over from New England Revolution 2. right after that, couple minutes, you be the judge. It was called the penalty, but it doesn't matter because Phil Barino with the stop on Garrett McLaughlin. That kept it 1-0 Madison going into the half. And into the second half, Madison wavered a little bit. They let Toronto back in. Another save here from Barino on the line off that header from Kosi Thompson on the corner. They would be undone in the end here. Final minute of the match. Barino stumbled on the turf on the goal line. Another look at it here. And Demi Antonoglu says thank you very much. And it ends up in a 1-1 draw between Toronto and Madison. It keeps Madison just below the playoff line in 7th, and Toronto is in 10th. But a tough one for Madison to be leading for that long on the road with only 14 players. Thought they would have had 3 points, but not quite. Later on that night, Richmond and New England, they both entered the day near the bottom of the table, but a win for either side in this game meant they would end the day above the playoff line. That's a heck of a start right there for Richmond. Jonathan Bolaño scores 3 minutes into the match, but the rest of the game didn't go the same way for Richmond. The old Big Ten connection there. Jake Rosansky on the service from Maryland, and Justin Rennicks, the Indiana man, on the receiving end of the header. That made it 1-1, 33 minutes in. Then just out of the half, Noel Buck slots it inside to Tico Rivera. It bounced off the defender, back off of his leg, and in. Not the way he intended to score, but a goal nonetheless for Tico Rivera to give New England the 2-1 lead. After that, the game then went back and forth until finally New England was able to put it away, 90+2. Noel Buck, he almost got the assist on the Tico Rivera goal. Now it's Rivera to Buck, and Buck finishes it for the 3-1 victory. It puts New England in 5th place as of now, and that could change, of course, as the day goes along still. And it leaves Richmond all the way down in 11th. They're 3 points away still from the playoff line, the Richmond Kickers. Saturday, just one game in League One. Chattanooga, North Carolina. We're fast-forwarding to the second half because in a game that was heavily impacted by weather, there were 0 combined shots on target in the first half, but Jonathan Ricketts, 7 minutes into the second half on the curler, gets things going. Moments later, just 6 minutes, the league's leading assist man, Ricky Ruiz, finds Juan Galindres, and watch this turn from Juan Galindres. Gets by his defender, blasts it, and that makes it 2-0 Chattanooga. Puts Galindres back in the Golden Boot race. He's only 3 goals back of the leaders, and it gives Ruiz the lead unto himself for the assists. North Carolina would pull one back in the 69th minute. Tim Trill, one of the top keepers in the league in terms of goals against average, and he should maybe stick to that and not so much with the feet. He gives it away here. Luis Arriaga ends up putting it away. We've got a game, it seems like, in Chattanooga, right? Right? Wrong, because on the ensuing kickoff, a minute later, they send it forward. You can't give Marky Hernandez that kind of space. He puts it away, and it gives Chattanooga the 3-1 win, which temporarily put them back in first place on 40 points here in League One. We're back in a moment with a look around the league with some news and notes.
First-generation student here at Bellevue University. I feel like if I were to have gone to a different university, my experience would have been a lot more stressful and overwhelming, because I feel like I wouldn't have gotten that personal experience that Bellevue University has to offer.
Shot, and it's in! Knocked away. Looking for Para, could fall for an opportunity here. The shot comes in! Oh, it's brilliant!
I did get an interesting text from someone in the Phoenix organization talking about how big and physical that game was, and maybe they didn't necessarily know it was going to be just like that. I think they got a good taste. By the way, in case you're wondering, Forrest Lasso is competing for the Summer Olympics in gymnastics. Just wanted you to know. What
So
you
is
got next?
Lee Cohen. He was part of that routine.
Bring it to me.
Forrest Lasso, the defender of the year, leaping over the ad boards and pirouetting his way toward the dugout.
Rethink what you drink.
Welcome back to the Toyota Halftime Show. Fans enjoying their time at the park, and they enjoyed North Texas finding the equalizer to make it 1-1. With that, we take a look around USL League One with some news and notes. The player of the month, Aaron Malloy, a stellar month he had in the midfield for forward Madison, doing it offensively and defensively. And your player of the week was Nazmi Al-Badawi, scoring twice in his send-off match. It's also Hispanic Heritage Month. Visit that link to learn more as the USL celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month through October the 15th. Take a look around the league at some scores brought to you by WinStar. Mentioned it throughout the first half that Greenville and Tucson has been exciting to say the least. They're 2-2 at the half. And Tormenta just equalized against Fort Lauderdale to make it 1-1. And in the 3 matches already completed, a pair of 3-1 wins for New England and Chattanooga, and then a 1-1 draw north of the border between Toronto and Madison. Here's a look at the upcoming schedule in the league. 4 games on Saturday. You might have to have multiple monitors up because you got 5:30, 6, 7, and 7. So all 4 near the end of that Richmond-Toronto game will be overlapping. And the lone game on Sunday, North Carolina against North Texas in the All-North Derby. I just made that up. Don't believe me there. North Carolina, North Texas. So that'll be fun on Sunday. We take a look at the standings here. As it stands coming into the day, North Texas, they're in 9th. Omaha, they're in 2nd. Greenville and Tucson playing each other right now in 3rd and 4th. And Tormenta and Fort Lauderdale playing each other in 6th and 8th. Take a snapshot mentally of this because it's going to look a lot different 45 minutes from now when all these games wrap up in this very tight playoff race here in League One. Fans taking a break, players taking a break, we'll take a break, and we'll be back in just a moment to round out the Toyota Halftime Show with highlights and stats from half number 1 and then kick of half number 2.
Rethink what you drink.
Style. Performance. Power. Pancake. Turtleneck sweater. Worcestershire. Or Shire, I guess. It doesn't matter what I say. The Camry speaks for itself.
Get $1,250 customer cash, or qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 60 months on a new 2021 Camry. Hurry in today. Toyota, let's go places.
Through our work during the pandemic, we've touched the lives of more than 500,000 people and their families. But we cannot continue our efforts and meet the ongoing demands without you.
Please give to our Rebuild Tarrant County Fund and support your United Way and the community that we all love so dearly.
Join us as we reimagine and rebuild a stronger Tarrant County by going to rebuildtarrant.org.
Thank you for caring. Thank you for living united.
We're the ones that help keep you on track and stay with you through every push, helping you dig out from injuries and keeping your mind and body in the game. We fuel you for battle, so you can stay in the fight, no matter what. Whatever you do, Texas Health Sports Medicine is here for your win.
Back here at Choctaw Stadium as we round out the Toyota Halftime Show, players making their way back out onto the field. And with that, we'll take a look at the Advocare first half highlights. Take it back to the 11th minute. That's when things got going offensively. Dami Villadero, look where he gets this ball. This is about use the lines on the field as a guide. About a 20, 25-yard run diagonally through a couple defenders. And then he blasts it with his quote-unquote weaker foot. But what weaker foot with a finish like that? Naturally a lefty. Does that with the right foot. That might be a goal of the week candidate. And in the 18th minute, North Texas gets it back. Blaine Ferry, nice chip over the top. El Medcar, first time finish. That is a difficult finish that he made look very easy. Half volley while sliding to the far post past the #1 goalkeeper in the league. That's his third in 7 appearances for North Texas this season. 31st minute, the chances continued for North Texas. Rayo nearly lost his footing and slid it just past the post as he split 2 defenders on the shot. Doyle and Kroll were there. All 3 of them actually stumbled with the way Rayo was able to stop it on a dime, cut back and shoot. And then here is Evan Conway back in the fold for Omaha. And he forces Shuttler to make a stop. That was about it, though, as far as the chances go for Omaha as that half went along. Take a look at the MTX stats here in the first half. 6 shots to 4 Omaha's way, 2 on target to 1. The only thing that matters, though, it's tied up at 1. Possession, as always, goes North Texas's way. If you were to do a blind resume here of these stats with every one of the last 4 times these teams have met, it would be almost identical. We'll see how this one plays out then in the final 45 minutes. Third of 4 meetings between these teams this season, the last coming on Saturday, October 30th. The last 3 times they've met, 3 draws. The only side who's ever won a game in this series was Union Omaha, back the first time these teams met early last season. Look at Khalil El-Medcar. His goal leveled things. Benjamin Meyer, you wait his whistle to begin half number 2. It's Omaha from right to left in those neon jerseys that you can't miss. And North Texas from left to right in the red tops, white bottoms. Here we go, half number 2 at Choctaw Stadium. Joe Malfa here with you this evening on ESPN+. Union Omaha comes in second place based on points, first place based on points per game. And North Texas in that glut of teams below the playoff line, all within a couple points of each other, where a win would move them into 5th today. Here's Greg Hurst. Has Conway making the run. Turning to find it is Evan Conway. Greeted by Waldeck. Back for Souza. Ball whipped in and headed away by Rayo. Further along by Waldeck and taken again by Souza. Already Souza tries his luck. One of the goals of last season was scored by Faraday Souza against Tormenta from right around that range. Blasted it in, celebrated with like 3 or 4 backflips. One of the most impressive goals and celebrations of the season. Faraday Souza was somebody that Jay Mims just found at local combine. A guy who played for Las Vegas Lights in 2019, was without a team, showed up at the combine. Jay Mims, with a little hesitation, offered him a contract. Boyce, as it deflected, continues his run. Mentioned in the first half, relentless is the word used to describe him. There he is, pressuring. Now it's Hurst trying to find a seam. Blaine Ferry comes away with it. Colin Smith to Gibran Rayo. High pressure here from Omaha. Different look from what we saw in the first half. Trying to start the second half quickly. North Texas plays out of it. And now it's space for Waldeck. Team leader with 4 assists. Finds El-Medcar. His goal leveled things. Rayo feeds it out to Smith. El-Medcar calling for it in the middle. It's back instead to Ferry. Waldeck. Here's Vargas. Poked along, sent in towards Waldeck. Nuhu couldn't grab it, but fortunately a teammate was there to clear it. They haven't gotten Freddie Vargas involved much as the lone striker up top for North Texas. They'll look to do more in that aspect in the second half. The more he's involved, the better. 22-year-old on loan from FC Dallas has 11 appearances, 7 starts in MLS this season. Things are getting physical behind the plate. Greg Hurst picks up a yellow card. That leaves Blaine Ferry and Greg Hurst as the 2 players on the field with yellows, 1 for either side. Circling back to Freddy Vargas. Again this season, 11 appearances, 7 starts in MLS on a season-long loan from Deportivo Lara in Venezuela. He's repped Venezuela at the U20 level. Freddy Vargas for North Texas. And in the same way that North Texas would like to get him more involved, the man you just saw there who picked up the yellow card, Omaha would like to get him more involved. It's been quite some time since he's last scored a goal. Golden Boot race has been stagnant for the better part of a month. Terzaghi, Lomas, a dozen each. The only thing that has changed on the graphic we so often show you at home is that Juan Galindres has entered the fold with 9 goals now after he scored this weekend. He has 9, Marco Micheletto has 9, and Greg Hurst has 9. Micheletto actually picked up the assist on Tormenta's goal that leveled things 1-1 there. Jay Mims looking to pick up an assist here, getting that ball back into play quickly to Doyle. But it's slowed down at Conway and then given away. Strong step by Ali Hodzic. Nearly cleanly won it, but he's the one left worse for wear after that challenge. He still hasn't gotten up. Ali Hodzic, 3rd-round pick by the Seattle Sounders back in 2016. After a very strong career at University of Nebraska Omaha under Jay Mims. Look at the Advocare replay, you see the collision. George Acosta has scored for Fort Lauderdale. It's 2-1 in their match now against Tormenta. D1 fans, you can't complain about goals right now. We've got them everywhere on this Sunday as we end week 24. 2-2, Greenville, Tucson. 1-1 here, 2-1, Fort Lauderdale, Tormenta. Greg Hurst is looking for more in this one. Hurst all the way across, looking for the runner at the back post, Conway. But Shuttler is there. Here's Smith. It's inside on Villadare. Doyle's there to help. 17-year-old Smith continues to run, sends it inside. Turning, looking for a place to shoot was Vargas. Now it's Hernandez. Both of these teams attack in very different ways. Omaha looks to be direct, get it into their strikers. Come after you quickly. North Texas looks to break you down, find that incisive pass. Some good hold-up play in the box. Little runs coming off of each other. Imanol Almaguer getting set to check in for North Texas. Sub early on here in this second half. Great ball from El Medcar. Up to Vargas. North Texas stuns Omaha, takes a 2-1 lead. I said they'd want to get him more involved. They do just that in a big way. Rashid Nuhu was irate looking over at the assistant referee, wondering where the flag was. Look at the Advocare replay. Seemed like a well-timed run from Vargas. assist to El Medkar, who has a goal and an assist to his name. And that goal for Vargas is brought to you by United Way. For Vargas, it's goal number 1 on the season. And it comes at a great time for a North Texas team looking to snap a 6-match winless run and get above that playoff line. Now it is Omaha's turn to respond. They have not played from behind much this season. Unfamiliar territory here, but a great test as the playoffs draw near. How do you respond when punched in the mouth? Boyce clips it. Backside, Conway was there. It falls. The volley by Ali Hudzic is right into the backside of Mikey Maldonado. That's a good quick response from Omaha. Didn't yield a goal, but very positive attack. It has been intriguing, to say the least, to be looking at the live standings next to me, updating on the fly with all the goals we've seen in the last hour around the league. As it stands, Greenville in 3rd with 31 points, Tucson in 4th with 30 points, and then Fort Lauderdale and North Texas above the playoff line, winning each of their games, would be on 29 points each. North Texas leads 2-1 here, and Fort Lauderdale leads 2-1 at home down in South Florida against South Georgia Tormenta. North Texas looking for more. Here's Rayo. Heavy touch as he cuts inside, looking for a lane to shoot. Smith, Vargas, Ferry lets it run by, but it's one back, Maldonado. Here's Hernandez. Told Imanol Almaguer will be entering the match for Colin Smith when that sub becomes official. Next dead ball, it seems it'll be on the way for North Texas. Here is that substitution brought to you by Texas Health Sports Medicine. Almaguer in, Smith out. That should be a like-for-like change at right back for North Texas, but two very different players. Smith likes to bomb up and down the wing a lot. Almaguer sits back a little bit more defensively, but Almaguer also a really strong central midfielder, so he can certainly tuck in and maybe push the likes of a Nicky Hernandez or a Mikey Maldonado back there. We'll see how it takes shape for North Texas. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source of soccer radio, featuring Ray Hudson, Tony Miola, Rodney Marsh, and USL All Access with Mike Watson, Devin Kerr every Tuesday night at 7 Eastern. You can also hear live action from the USL, MLS Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. Union Omaha this season, in all of their games, 19 coming in, they have not trailed for a collective combined 90 minutes. So in 19 games, they have not even trailed for the equivalent of one full game of match time. Shows you how rare it is to take a lead on this team. Part of the reason is, as a defensive unit, they don't give up many goals, just 13 on the season coming in. The other part of it is they're so strong early in games. So often they are the team who does score first. And this season, they have scored first in 14 of 19 matches. Today made it 15. Greg Hurst called for the foul against Eric Waldeck. Looks like it is Maldonado who has swung out to right back, with Almaguer taking his spot in the middle of the park. Here is Almaguer. Waldeck sends it in. Heavy touch from Vargas. The last time Omaha conceded more than one goal in a match, you have to go all the way back to June 12th against New England Revolution 2. In a game they won handily 4-2, and the goal from New England came late on in that game. Ever since then, it's 1s and 0s the whole way for Omaha. Eleven straight matches for the Owls without conceding more than one goal, a streak that ends today. On the flip side of that, you wonder if Omaha has North Texas right where they want them. With the recent form from North Texas, and Eric Quill has been very frustrated with all the goals they've conceded late against the likes of Chattanooga. Boyce from distance, that troubles Shuttler, but he sees it go by. An hour gone here at Choctaw Stadium. Joe Malfa here with you this evening. Goal scored in the 11th minute on the Omaha side by Dami Villader. 18th minute for North Texas by Khalil Ahmedkar. And then 53rd minute by Freddie Vargas to give the home side the 2-1 lead. 5-1-4 on their home turf this season. The plus 12 goal difference coming in. It's been away from home that North Texas has struggled. They're at a point now where as long as they win their home games, though, have to like their chances of getting into the postseason. Coaches are reluctant to put a number on a target point total just because things are so tight. But for North Texas, they had their next two on the road. One of those very winnable against last place North Carolina. And then after that, 3 of the final 4 games are at home. And you imagine they'll feel at home on the road against Fort Lauderdale. On a field just as big as this one, where they can spread things out and play their style. Recently, the late goals conceded against Chattanooga to draw on the road and lose on the road. And also for North Texas, the late goal conceded against Tucson here on this field to draw 2 weeks ago. It's a young team. Part of the growth and learning experience is closing out games. It's something they've struggled with. It's something they struggled with last year. But that changed in the final few games of the season. Eric Quill hoping for the same run to the finish here. His team ended last season as the hottest in the league. Waldeck serves it. Vargas was waiting for it. And last season, if not for the last second goal of Evan Conway at home in the win for Omaha, it would have been North Texas in the final against Greenville, the final that never was. Greenville crowned the champions. Just goes to show you how hot North Texas got last year. And if they can recapture that form again, watch out. Very talented team. Ahmedkar. Omaha preparing a sub. Next chance they get. Rashid Nuhu bombs this one away. When that change is made, it seems like it'll be Ricardo Rivera entering the match. Greg Hurst going to the bench. Of course, we wait for the official confirmation on that. Vargas swings it in. Malone heads it away. Very inside. Almaguer. Braun Rayo tries to squirt through the defenders. He draws the free kick. This is a great spot here for North Texas. Lane Ferry stands over it, as does Freddy Vargas. Vargas already has one goal tonight. Always tricky here for a goalkeeper when you have a right-footed player and a left-footed player standing over it. Not sure exactly how to position the wall depending on where the kick will come from. Goes with a 5-man wall, 5 vertical men that is. Ferry, well, you don't want to do over on that one. The 5-man wall with the player laying underneath. Not needed at all in the end. Skiers sends it out wide for Souza. Greg Hurst remains in for now. Ricky Rivera entering at any moment. Puerto Rican international. Has starred for the club 5 times this season here for Omaha. Once as a starter, and he has starred for Puerto Rico in World Cup qualifiers for the 2022 World Cup. Made his senior international debut at the age of 18. Souza to Doyle, inside, just past Greg Hurst. That might be his last touch of the ball, and it will be. Rivera in, Hurst out. Brought to you by Texas Health Sports Medicine. So either side now has made one change. Greg Hurst just never really found this one. Don't know what's in the water around USL League One today. With all the goals we're seeing, it's 2-1 at the half, Fort Lauderdale Tormenta. It's 2-1 here, and it is now 3-2 FC Tucson over Greenville, and it's a hat trick for Charlie Dennis. That game in the 61st minute. Pressure there from Doyle. We'll see if Omaha turns up the pressure again. They did it when they came out of the gates here in the first half. James Mims has a very intricate pressuring system with a couple of triggers that he'll call out. And it seems like they're on the front foot again here. And it forces a turnover and forces a free kick. Join USL in celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month through October 15th. Visit uslsoccer.com/Hispanic-heritage for exclusive content and stories that celebrate members of the Hispanic community who have shaped the USL. Boyce, Villader, won't stand over it. Boyce vacates for Villader. That left foot of his swung in and headed away. Some Owls fans there in the corner. Can't miss those t-shirts. Same Volt green as the kits the players are wearing. Here's Conway. He goes down rather easily. Play on, says Benjamin Meyer. Hilal Osumanu is set to check in for Omaha. Skimmed along to El Medcar. The flag goes up. The road ahead for Omaha. They have just one game remaining this month against Tucson at home. And then a loaded October where they start on the road against Tormenta and finish on the road against North Texas. But 4 home games in a row in between those 2 games. Those coming against Fort Lauderdale, Greenville, North Carolina, and Richmond. Part of sharing a venue with a minor league baseball team as the flag goes up here on Devin Boyce means that you usually have a schedule front-loaded with road games, back-loaded with home games to avoid conflicts. And credit to Omaha, they navigated that really tough early stretch. They started at home on April 24th. They returned home after that for the first time on June 12th after 6 straight road games. Through it all, even with a loss here today, they would have 2 games in hand on Chattanooga and be just 3 points back of first place. So on a points per game basis, regardless of today's outcome, Omaha leads the league in that column. And with all these games remaining at home down the stretch, you like their chances to comfortably finish atop the table and clinch home field throughout the postseason in addition to a round 1 bye. We'll have a free kick here, a dangerous spot to try and get that goal back. Toby Otieno, Hilal Osumanu, all ready to come in together for Omaha. Here's what'll come after this free kick. Osumanu leaves it for Boyce. Swung in by Boyce. Rising to meet it there was Conway, but as he rubs his head, I wonder if he could have done better with that. Still sitting on those substitutions for Omaha. Otieno, Osumanu have been ready. Connor Doyle and J.P. Skeers will be the 2 players giving way, barring a last-minute change of heart from J. Mims. Here's that pressure again, and they win it only momentarily after a heavy touch from Boyce. North Texas right now, you have to imagine they're doing everything they can to try and get that third. They don't want to be in this position where it's just a 1-goal game. They know how it's fared for them recently. Counterpoint to that, they could exercise some of those demons by winning a 1-goal game, but you'd rather have the insurance goal. And 3 has been the magic number this season in League One. Last season we saw a handful of times in which teams scored 3 goals and either lost 4-3 or drew 3-3. Every team who has scored 3 goals this season has won that game. So 1 more for North Texas and they would fall into that category, you'd imagine. It is Skeers out, for Otieno. And it is Doyle out for Osumanu. Brought to you by Texas Health Sports Medicine. This might change the tactics a little bit for Omaha as well. Osumanu is center back. Dami Villader has played as a left midfielder before. He did so often last season. And it does appear to be the case. Kroll has slid out to left back. Villader has taken Doyle's spot as the left winger, as Osumanu subs in for Doyle and takes the spot at center back. Here's Villader, already a goal tonight. Swings this one in over the head of Rivera. Pardon me. Otieno and Souza. Villader overlap there from Kroll. It's sent that way. Great job working back to that ball to block it, but second ball in from Kroll. The header was wide open for Conway. He's in disbelief. Team's leading scorer from last year with 6 goals. In limited time this year, he has 2, and he should have had a third. Look at the Advocare replay. Persistence from Kroll as he powered through, and Conway couldn't believe it. Took a ricochet in the end off Salas, or not. Omaha is ready to throw it in. Villader is going to pick up a yellow for his reaction. He's got to be careful now. He's already got a yellow, and he's letting the 4th official have it. Otieno. Back along for Osumanu. Out wide for Souza. He's got space. Rivera, heavy touch, but it's back to Souza. Now Boyce. Kazu getting set to check in for North Texas. Souza sends it in. The header is right into the hands of Shuttler. Can't say Omaha has not had opportunities here in this second half, and many of them have come via Conway. Kazu will be checking in for Nicky Hernandez. Again, barring a late change of heart here. Merrick Quill, that's what we've been told. As the player checks in with the 4th official. That would be fresh legs up top for North Texas as they try late here to go ahead and put this away with a 3rd goal. Souza back to Boyce. This win would mean a lot for a North Texas squad that has been just kind of floundering over the last month. Winless in 6, 4 straight draws followed by 2 straight losses. Here's Villader. End line in front. Cleared away. Here comes that change for North Texas, brought to you by Texas Health Sports Medicine. And it is Hernandez out, Kazu in. Prior to the stretch of 4 draws and 2 losses from North Texas, they took 7 out of a possible 9 points in their previous 3 games. And if you take that back a little bit further, they won 3 of 5 with 2 draws in between there. So they took 11 from a possible 15 points. We're only taking 4 of the last 18. And they continue the form they were on. They'd be well clear of that playoff line now, but again, a testament to how tight things are this season, the parity in the league. In spite of their recent 6-match winless streak, they are above the playoff line as it stands if this result holds. They'd like an insurance goal, though. Elmetkar puts it in the middle. Poor clearance attempt. It comes back out for Waldeck. It's blocked on the way in by Souza. With Fort Lauderdale leading Tormenta, North Texas would be in 6th rather than 5th and lose the tiebreaker against Fort Lauderdale for the time being, which is just total wins. That's the first tiebreaker this year. Wins is the first tiebreaker. Goal difference is the second. Fort Lauderdale would have 8 wins at the end of the night if all results hold. North Texas would have 7. But being on 29 points sets you up nicely for both Fort Lauderdale and North Texas, because you are just 3 points away from potentially being in 3rd, where Tucson sits right now as they lead 3-2 over Greenville on the road. Third place and 4th place teams get a home game in the first round of the playoffs. Top 2 teams get byes. Souza over everybody. It'll change time and again over the next few weeks. Might change time and again for the remainder of the day. But as it stands, Tucson would play North Texas at home in round 1, and Greenville would host Fort Lauderdale, while Chattanooga and Omaha stay at home and wait for the winners. 10 minutes to go here at Choctaw Stadium. Help to his feet. Mark Salas, who has been strong on the back line today for North Texas. The USL is committed to supporting the LGBTQ+ community through the Forever Proud project. The USL will strive to create safe and welcoming environments for all fans, players, employees, and partners. Learn more at usl.com/forever-proud. The Adair with Conway, fed into Conway, has space, Conway! There he is. The team's leading scorer from last year has missed a lot of time this year, but he's back in the fold. He's back scoring big goals. It's his 3rd of the season for the Owls. Look at the Advocare replay. You can see that play developing there, that seam for Conway coming across. Gomez had to do better there. Shuttler came out, couldn't get enough of it. And it's that same movie on repeat for North Texas. They conceded late against Chattanooga on the road for a draw, late against Chattanooga on the road for a loss, late against Tucson at home for a draw, and late again here to level things. And the goals keep coming here around the league. Greenville just tied Tucson 3-3. So there goes the stat that I threw out earlier, that every team who has scored 3 goals in a game this season has come away with a win. That one's now 3-3. Can either of these teams get to a 3rd to secure 3 points? We've had some weeks this season in the league where the goal scoring has been sparse. Just cagey, tight, 1-0 or 1-1 games. You cannot say that about this weekend. It started off with that 1-1 draw between Toronto and Madison. That was followed up by a pair of 3-1 games. A chance here for Rio coming out Nuhu. And Osumanu will look to clear. 3-1. New England won. 3-1. Chattanooga won. And now today, it's 2-1 Fort Lauderdale with a half to play. It's 3-3 Greenville and Tucson in Greenville right now. And it's 2-2 here. That's 13 goals today alone. Salas feeds it out for Waldeck. Waldeck slips on the turf. And Kazu commits the foul. Just have to wonder what's going through Eric Quill's mind right now on the bench. In such a tight playoff race, you cannot afford to drop any points. And the points they have dropped in the last 10 minutes of games recently, they start to add up. They dropped 3 total points in the 2 games they had against Chattanooga on late goals. They dropped 3 points. They dropped 2 points against Tucson. That one knotted down into a dangerous spot by Gomez, who cleans up his own mess. And now they may be dropping 2 more points here, North Texas. You tally that up, and between the 2 Chattanooga games, the Tucson game, and this one, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points dropped. Conway saved by Shuttler. How quickly this game has turned in the momentum after the goal from Omaha. And a foul here sets up the Owls with a free kick. The ball fell for Conway. A goal already here on the Advocare replay. What a stop by Shuttler when this team needed it most. Those 7 points that North Texas has dropped potentially, depending on how this one plays out. You add those to their tally, and they're a 3rd place team. Boyce serves it up near the penalty spot. Otieno in space, looking for an option. Back for Ali Hodzic. Served up into the hands of Shuttler. Jabron Rayo getting ready to leave the match for North Texas. Bernard Kamungo will be entering. Vargas threads it through here for Rayo, maybe his last involvement. Lays it off for Ferry on his preferred left foot. Back to Rayo. Here's Jabron Rayo cutting inside on his right foot. Rayo, it's blocked. Now a long run the other way for Conway. Salas pokes it out. There was a chance there for Rayo to be the hero on his last kick of the ball. He's ready to sub out now for Kamungo. 3rd change of the match from North Texas, brought to you by Texas Health Sports Medicine. If memory serves me correct, they've all been in different windows, so 5 subs allowed, but 3 windows allowed, so that should do it for North Texas here as far as the substitutions go. On the flip side, still a couple of changes at the disposal of Jay Mims. Driven to El Medkar. Heavy touch though, left it there for Kroll to take away. Great long ball to Rivera. Even better first touch with the chest. Rivera working on Gomez. It falls for Boyce. It's just wide. You get the sense Omaha, of either of these 2 teams, is the more likely to find a third the way this game is tilted right now. The wind taken out of the sails of North Texas by the equalizing goal. And all that wind then taken and put directly into the sails of Omaha. Kazu. Waldeck. 2 to go of the 90. We await word on stoppage time. For the couple of times North Texas has been undone by late goals, they do have one. Came on the road against Madison, and they produce some late magic once again in their own right. Nicholas Firmino in for Evan Conway. Brought to you by Texas Health Sports Medicine. Conway's goal leveled things in the 81st minute, third of the season. The team's leading scorer from a year ago, scoring big goals once again. Now what can Firmino do in relief? Vargas picks up a yellow. There'll be 3 minutes of added time once the fourth official puts it up on the board. Kroll, the cross. Boyce is there. It ricochets off his head after Waldeck got a head to it. Kroll. Villader. Rivera chips it in towards Villader. Too strong. Stoppage time is brought to you by MTX. It is confirmed at 3 minutes. 3 minutes for these teams to find a third goal and pick up 3 points. Almaguer with space. Kazu, the team's leading scorer, inside for Kamungo. Couldn't find it between the feet. Otieno into space. Advantage is played. Here's Villader. J. Mims shouting for the official's attention, but I think he should be glad advantage was played. Omaha at the time had numbers, but now they slow it down and bring it back to Rashid Nuhu. With just 2 minutes remaining, each possession so valuable, you don't know how many more you're going to get. They want to make the most of this, and they nearly disastrously turn it over at the back. 9 second half shots for Omaha, 3 on target. 15 shots, 5 overall. On the flip side, 9 shots, 2 on target for North Texas. Here's Boyce, striding through the middle. Taken away on the step. It's Maldonado. Time wearing thin now. Sumanu turned inside for Otieno. Maybe time for one last charge up the field for Omaha. They'll have to work quickly and be efficient, but they turn it right over. Nailed out by the whistle. Taken quickly for Villader. Don't imagine North Texas will be given the opportunity to go back the other way, so this will either be a draw or an Omaha win to depending on how this attack pans out. Kroll, Firmino, inside via Dare. And he gives it away. There's the final whistle here at Choctaw Stadium. For the fourth consecutive time in the all-time series, North Texas and Omaha take a point each. It's 2-2 at the end of the night. Our Michelob Ultra man of the match is Freddy Vargas. He got the goal that put North Texas up in the 53rd minute, but they were unable to hold on to the lead for Vargas. The Loney, it was his first of the season. And this North Texas squad, once again, sees points slip through the fingers. Their streak reaches 7 without a win. And in the 7 games, they have dropped 7 points from a leading position. That has to stink for a North Texas squad battling in the playoff race. We're back to wrap this one up in a moment here at Choctaw Stadium. 2-2 it finishes.
Rethink what you drink.
Style, performance, power, pancake, turtleneck sweater, Worcestershire, or Shire, I guess. It doesn't matter what I say, the Camry speaks for itself.
Get $1,250 customer cash, or qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 60 months on a new 2021 Camry. Hurry in today. Toyota, let's go places.
Through our work during the pandemic, we've touched the lives of more than 500,000 people and their families. But we cannot continue our efforts and meet the ongoing demands without you.
Please give to our Rebuild Tarrant County Fund and support your United Way and the community that we all love so dearly.
Join us as we reimagine and rebuild a stronger Tarrant County by going to rebuildtarrant.org.
Thank you for caring. Thank you for living united.
Final score brought to you by MTX. It's 2-2 in the end between North Texas and Union Omaha. Again, the fourth consecutive time in the all-time series these teams finish with a point each. We take a look at the Advocare full-time highlights, of which there were plenty in a game that featured 4 goals. And it's not even the highest scoring game from around the league tonight, with Greenville and Tucson at 3-3 in stoppage time in Greenville. We started off here with this brilliant goal from Dami Villadare, a run of about 25 yards, past a couple of defenders. He's a left-footed player. He rockets this one with the right foot to show you that he can get it done with the left and the right. It's a goal of the week candidate right there. 7 minutes later, North Texas responds. This is a brilliant pass from Ferry, and it's a brilliant finish from El Medcar. Looks simple, but that's because he made it look simple. He's sliding, he's taking it on the half volley. It's a tough angle, and he's going up against the #1 keeper in the league right now. And it's his 3rd of the season, and they tied things up at 1. Freddy Vargas, 53rd minute. Great ball in from El Medcar. He scored the first one, El Medcar. He supplies the assist on this one. And it ends up in the back of the net for the first goal of the season by Vargas. 81st. This North Texas team has struggled of late with the late concession. Evan Conway, we highlighted him top of the broadcast for good reason. He's back in the lineup. He's back scoring goals. And he gives them a point. 85th minute. Some final chances here for Omaha. Again, it falls to Conway. Great stop by Shuttler to keep the score where it was. And that's how it would finish at 2-2. Take a look at the full-time stats brought to you by MTX. I mentioned it at halftime. I'll mention it again now. If you were to put this up against every other time these teams have met, numbers almost identical. You expect Omaha to win the shots battle. You expect North Texas to win the possession battle. And as you'd come to expect for the 4th straight time, a tie score at 2-2. And these teams will take the point and run with it in a very tight table. It helps Omaha in their chase for first place. It does help North Texas along as they try to near that playoff line. That'll do it for us tonight at Choctaw Stadium. For the broadcast crew that makes this possible, I'm Joe Malva saying good night from Arlington, Texas. Your final score, North Texas 2, Union Omaha 2, as we bring a stellar Week 24 in USL League One to its conclusion.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.